Excuse me. Excuse me. Welcome to Can Angels Fly Tarot Live. I'm Nancy. And tonight's discussion surrounds the Illuminati. The Illuminati is, what do you call it? A very trendy subject matter. It seems to be very popular, trendy, in pop culture. But I don't think people are aware of the significance of what the Illuminati is. I have entered into the chat 2 questions. The first question, is it possible for us to create a new Illuminati? And the second question is, what do you have to contribute to the new Illuminati? Well, welcome in all. Now, today was a big research day for me. Well, I research every day. But today I wanted to pull some various aspects together, and it all surrounds the Illuminati. So, what is the Illuminati? Well, based on Wikipedia, it says that the Illuminati are people claiming to possess special enlightenment or knowledge of something. Hi, Elizabeth. How are you doing? So happy you caught me live. I'm happy you caught me live, too. As mentioned, we're discussing the, various subject matters that surround the Illuminati. And I think it's important to have this discussion in somewhat detail. And I say somewhat because this is just me sharing what I've learned during my research over the last few days. What I've come to focus on after researching over the last few days. And it is the Illuminati. And again, the definition is the Illuminati, as defined by Wikipedia or described by Wikipedia.com, is people like me and you maybe, claiming to possess special enlightenment or knowledge of something. Now, this live stream is going to be rough. Again, I'm just talking about the Illuminati, sharing all the information I have to try to bring it full circle. Bring what full circle? Our understanding. So we can understand where everything has sprung from, where we are now, and where we are headed in the near and distant future. So, let's see where I should start, because it's so much. I'm not going to do all this, y'all. Take this out here. But this here is my research over this last 3 or 4 days. This is my research, y'all. But I'm not going to put y'all through all of this. I've been thinking about making a live stream where I actually get on here with you, ladies and gentlemen, inviting you to come do some research with me. So you personally know how to go step by step and research any subject matter that you may have. And ultimately, this is the thing, ultimately it brings you answers to your personal concerns, you know. So, but we got to understand where all this come from. So we can do what? Nip it in the bud. Cut out the middleman. So the first thing I want to talk about is, well, that ain't it. That's not it. Oh, this is it. Right here. On top. Okay, I'll do this. First thing I want to ask, and I hope that you all will contribute by making comments. The first question I have, well, I guess the third, because I've already posed 2. And one is it possible to create a new Illuminati? And what do you have to contribute to the Illuminati? So the third question is, do either of you know the top 5 countries that exist as of now? What am I saying? The most 5 powerful countries that exist right now. We're talking about the Illuminati. Well, while you think about it, I'm going to share what I've picked up All of my research is done through Wikipedia. I don't get out to the libraries anymore. No reason to do so until they start messing with stuff online. So Wikipedia, www.dictionary.com is the same old with me. I don't change very much. The 5 most powerful countries that exist as of now are the top 5 most powerful countries that exist as of now are Great Britain, which is, I believe, the United Kingdom, the United States, China, Russia, and Germany. Now, if you watch the news just a little bit, or even if you just follow various channels here on YouTube, you will see, if you pay attention, that these top 5 most powerful countries that exist now are the ones that are primarily in the news, and they are directly related to the Illuminati. So I'll cite them again. It's Great Britain, which I do believe is the United Kingdom. It's the United States, China, Russia, and Germany. So how did these countries become the most powerful countries in the world? How did they get their power? It was through imperialism. Imperialism. Let me spell it, so that if you want to research, you can. And I'm going somewhere with this. I just ask you to be patient. And when you come out, you're going to really understand the significance of the Illuminati, which is trending now, especially in pop culture. Well, let me go back. How did they get their power? Imperialism. Let's spell imperialism. IMPERIALISM. Why am I spelling it? Because I realize my pronunciation is really poor. And I want you to be able to understand clearly what I'm saying again. So if you feel like researching, you can. But in short, what is imperialism? Imperialism is going over to other lands or countries, going to war, W-A-R, for the purpose of what? Defeating the people, the natives of that land, for the purpose of what? Seizing control of their natural resources. So, top 5 most powerful countries that exist now: Great Britain, the United States, China, Russia, Germany. How did they get their status as the most powerful countries in the world? Through imperialism, going over into other lands, fighting the natives, whomever the natives may be, conquering them, and seizing control of their natural resources. Not only that, the people that go to imperialize a place, or to conquer a place, or to wage war for the purpose of gaining control of the land, for the purpose of obtaining their natural resources, they also colonize the place. Colonize. COLONIZATION. Colonization. What they do, they make it that land they home, and they stay. Why do they stay? Of course, it's to make sure that they can secure the land and the surroundings that, or in which those natural resources exist. Now, this is important. We're going to talk about the Illuminati. I sure enough am discouraged. I wish I could get just a few more viewers. It would be nice. Okay, one day. I ask you to like, share, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, Can Angels Fly Tarot. But I'm going to move forward because I'm going somewhere with this. And I don't understand. I really don't understand. I'm so upset because the information that I'm offering is the answer. It contains the answer to our concerns. And I just don't understand. But I'm going to move forward for the few that will entertain me and ride the wave with me. So, we have these 5 top most powerful countries in the world. And they have obtained their power by continuously going out, waging war on, we'll say, foreign lands and conquering them. And what is it called? Seizing control of the wealth, the natural resources of the land that they waged war on. Not only do they do that, they colonize that land, meaning they make home on that land in order to secure those natural resources, those treasures of war they have obtained. So why do these various places, powerful countries, go through all that trouble? Going over the foreign lands, of foreign terrain, messing with folk that ain't saying nothing to them. It goes back into understanding that the only reason that we have been able to technologically advance is due to natural resources. And I talk about that all the time. I talk about the periodic table. I talk about all the minerals and metals and gems and precious gems. All of these things are what allow us to technologically advance. Natural resources such as food, water. When I say food, like fish, the local animals that are offered in any given land, any fruits and vegetables or anything like that. You know, that varies from place to place, land to land. And those very things are what they were going after. They want to obtain. The ultimate goal of a powerful country is to seize any and all natural resources, to hoard them, and whatever's left, to eradicate it, to get rid of it. And why is that? Well, we'll talk about that a little later on in this live stream. But how can I do this? Because my notes are everywhere. The Illuminati. It's unbelievable. The Illuminati. Oh gosh, Nancy, get your head together and don't complain. Ooh, I'm next. Now, how do these countries maintain their power, enforce their will upon other lands? It is by building their own personal military. Yes. The Illuminati. Each power in short, builds their military. That's the most important thing. Because without the military, they cannot seize control of another's land and their resources. Now, what do they call this? Get your mind in the game. This imperialism and colonization is old as time, but it's continued to grow. Why? Well, it is because, how can I say it? This is why I need you. This is why you need me. I'm talking about the Illuminati, and I'm having trouble doing so, especially out of discouragement. Illuminati. These are people claiming to possess special enlightenment or knowledge of something, and they do. Who creates the Illuminati? Do any of you know? Yeah, we know. We know. Some examples of who create the Illuminati overall are the Rosicrucians, the Solar Temple or the Knights Templar, the Freemasons, and guess what? Your religious sectors, the churches. There are many, many others but I didn't feel like pulling it up because I've been looking at so much information. And I'm going to give you a set of information here so that you can understand what the Illuminati is. The Illuminati is just what is it for? Purpose. What's the purpose? What's the intent? What's the goal? To dominate the world. Dominate the world. How do I break this down? I'm going to get it out even if it's a mess. We're talking about the Illuminati. The Illuminati is not just one specific group. Although the Illuminati is composed of people. And these people do possess special enlightenment or knowledge of something. These people that overall create the Illuminati have knowledge about something. And what's that something? We've talked about it. And those somethings are the academic disciplines in the fields of study, the branches of knowledge. The same thing everybody pay all that money for to go to college. That's the knowledge that they have. And through that knowledge, they gain special enlightenment. The enlightenment toward what? This physical realm. We've talked about it. In this live stream, I'm trying to show you what the Illuminati is. You know, it's right before you, but it's shrouded. It's unclear. I want to make it clear. But how can I make it clear when I can't even think clear? But okay. So far, we've talked about the 5 most powerful countries in the whole world. We talked about how they gained their power and for what purpose. Now we're talking about branches of knowledge. Branches of knowledge are academic disciplines, school on the highest level, college, master's degrees, and things like that. Why is that important? If you have time, go to Wikipedia. You know, that's one of my favorite places to go online. Wikipedia. And type in outline of academic disciplines. I'm going to repeat that because it's important. Type in outline of academic disciplines. And what you will get is a page of all the academic disciplines. That is to say, all of the academic fields. That is to say, all of the branches of knowledge. Like what? When we go to college, pay all that money for to master one field, to attempt to master one field. Yeah. Why is that important? The Illuminati. I'm trying, y'all, to break the Illuminati down. The Illuminati is just not one group. The Illuminati is a collection, a congregation of various, what do you call it, sectors, or I didn't even write it down. They call them secret societies from all over the world. And it's intentional. Don't think that it's not intentional. So what I'm about to try to do now is explain how all of these various secret societies that we hear of, such as the Rosicrucians, the Solar Temple, or the Knights Templar, the Freemasons, and our various religious sectors. I don't know. Are all a part of the Illuminati. And they are from every aspect and walk of life. I'm going to try to make it make sense. I'm jumping again. But before I jump, because we're going to get it together. I'm going to get it together, y'all. Before I jump, because I'm about to jump another subject matter, because we're talking about the Illuminati. The top 5 countries, most powerful countries in the world is Great Britain, United States, China, Russia, Germany. How did they obtain their power? Through military force and imperialism, going to somebody else's land and waging war on them for the purpose of taking over their natural resources. And not only that, to make sure that, because you can't take the whole land and move it, so they had to colonize it. They had to sit there to secure when they conquered. So they sit there, they secure. And then they began to, oh my goodness. I don't want to jump. I want to stop because I'm going to have to come back to that. Why do they feel the need to go over there and conquer other lands? It's so that they can have the upper hand in advancing in technology. For the overall purpose of what? Dominating, controlling the world. So, when it comes to the natural resources, there are 3 rules. The first is to seize, the second is to hoard, and the third is to eradicate anything left, so that what? The rest of the population cannot benefit from it. But we're coming back to it. I jump now to the next subject matter we just covered, and it is about academic disciplines, aka academic fields, aka branches of knowledge. You can go to Wikipedia and type in outline of academic disciplines to see pages and pages of all the various academic disciplines. Where did these academic disciplines come from? They came from living and learning and logging or documenting or recording the findings. So what am I saying? I'm saying that these academic disciplines, these branches of knowledge, have been built upon generation after generation. What is it, millennials? It's been about, was that decade after decade? Something like that. Century after century. Century after century. And so, I'm just going to take a guess because I'm not sure. I did a video about this before. The various branches of knowledge, I think there were 109, I think, branches of knowledge. Just guessing. 109. Just like it's overwhelming for me to try to give this report on the information that I've accumulated over time, could you imagine how overwhelming it would be to be a master in 109 different branches of knowledge? It's impossible, at least for man. So, the Illuminati, the geniuses of this world from century to century, had a plan. And the plan was, after they got so much information, they realized there was a correlation between the natural resources on this earth and technological advancement. What is technological advancement? Anything that makes it easier for us to live in this physical world. So, their plan was to move out and conquer others. Example, one of the most major powerful countries moves out to a foreign land. They wage war on them. They conquer them. As they take account of what that land, that new land, has to offer, they find out about new elements, new substances, or strange substances. But they know already, genius, that all they have to do is find what it goes with in order to create something new that makes life much easier to live. So they develop the Illuminati. How can I say this? Rosicrucians. If you don't know what the Rosicrucians are, again, you can Google it. But the Rosicrucians are an ancient mystical order One of the ancient mystical orders. That's what we must first understand. What makes the Rosicrucian so important? It's not a religious sector. No. How about the Solar Temple? They're not a religious institution as well. Why are they important? What about the Freemasons? They're not just a brotherhood. They're not a religious institution. Why are they so important and talked about so much? And there are so many more orders. Again, I didn't have time to research them and dig them all up. But all of these ancient mystical orders I've talked about, and many more, are what create the Illuminati overall. And their purpose, each of these ancient mystical orders, they are granted the authority to be a keeper of the findings of knowledge associated with this realm. What do I mean? Back to the Rosicrucian. What are they over? Well, it's at least one thing that I know the Rosicrucians are over. Before I go into what the Rosicrucians, what the one thing I know that the Rosicrucian order is over, I just ask you, viewer, are any of you into the Hi Jordan, happy fall equinox to you as well as others? Tonight we're talking about the Illuminati. At least I'm trying to. Are any of you into music? Are any of you, or have any of you studied the academic discipline of music? How deep are we as individuals? I'm willing to argue we're not deep at all. That goes into something else. Hold on. I asked about the music, and if there's anyone that has studied the discipline of music, because the Rosicrucians are over the discipline of music. That's the one I do know. Undoubtedly. And they can't even be challenged. The Rosicrucians are over music. Remember, this evening we're talking about the Illuminati and how the Illuminati is composed of all the ancient mystical orders. All of them. And the ones that I've mentioned are the Rosicrucians, the Solar Temple, the Knights Templar, the Freemasons, and your religious sector. So, just want to talk a little bit more about these various keepers of information, metaphysical information, hidden information. Solar Temple. What does the solar sound like? Yeah, the sun, the solar system. Now, I didn't study this. I'm just inferring that if it's the solar temple, it is dealing with our solar system. They are the keepers of astrology, I'm quite sure, even if I go research it further. But I'm just trying to give you the basics. So, what am I saying? I'm saying that the Freemasons have been granted the power and authority, the rulership, the lordship over a particular academic field or branch of knowledge. Your religious churches, I don't care what religion you are, they were also granted power and authority, a kingdom, lordship, or a particular branch of knowledge. Look at this freezing up. I was saying, it keeps freezing. Somebody don't want me to say this. I'm already messing up, but they must see me warming up. The churches, any church, any religious sector is also a branch of the Illuminati. And they have been granted the power and authority, a kingdom or lordship over a particular branch of knowledge. And can you guess what that branch of knowledge might be? Well, I'm going to just take a loose guess. It's over people. Did you know the study of, what is it called, y'all? Because I don't want to go back and forth to Wikipedia. That's when I'm going to try to do a lesson here so you can follow along and see. But it's the study of people is anthropology, something like that. I don't know. Just go to the outline of academic disciplines in Wikipedia, and you'll see it. It's the study of people. What am I saying? I'm saying every single church or religious institution has been given power and authority and lordship over a particular branch of knowledge, and the branch of knowledge that they are over is overseeing the people. It has to do with philosophy, of the psychology of people. This is what the churches are over. Where I'm saying and inferring that the solar temple has been granted power and authority over various a specific branch of knowledge, and that is over our solar system. So back to the Rosicrucians as our example. I know 100% that they are over music. And I'm not talking about turn your radio on basic music. No, I'm talking about mastery of music. In order to master music, you have to do what? Break it down to its tones and its frequencies. This is what the Rosicrucians are over. At least one of the fields. I know 100% that they are over. They understand every single tone, every single frequency, its corresponding hertz. And now, I don't want to get y'all twisted. I am not a master in any of these fields. I have had some extensive studies. But, so I can't go into depth. That's what this video is about. I can't go into depth on any one of these. I tried to study the music part. It's too intense. It's too deep. Just dealing with the various tones, the scales, the tones, the frequencies, and the hertz. I'm going to stop there. I need to jump. I need to jump one more. I'm giving you all the information so we can all understand. I'm coming around to something if y'all just ride with me. It's almost like I'm begging. I think I am. For y'all to be patient. Can you be patient? So, as I talk about the Rosicrucians, I talk about them being over music. Think about Mozart, Wolfgang Puck. Why were they such prestigious characters? If you study them, they were masters of music. They wrote music. They tended to the various tones, hertz, and vibrations for a purpose. Now, as mentioned, and I just threw out there are about 109 various branches of knowledge, academic disciplines or study. I don't know who you've been exposed to in the course of your life relative to those that have been masters or geniuses. But they receive their accolade of mastery or genius because they what? Were a part of one of these mystical ancient orders, and they studied extensively. What does study extensively mean? Being able to understand what they were dealing with, that one discipline, from beginning to end, and all the little small parts and pieces that create that discipline. I want to go somewhere, jumping again. When I was trying to study the music part of it, just so I could have some information to share with you, to try to, you know, wake you up and enlighten you and hopefully spark or inspire you to move forward and to dive deeply into a particular field of study, to become a master, to become a genius. I looked at the music, and it was this one note that came up, and the note is E, the letter E, and it came up in the spelling of, what was I doing? Oh, y'all probably can't see this. Can y'all see that? A-D. A-D. Now, I'm going to tell y'all why I'm so confused and mixed up. I showed it earlier, but I want to show you again. This is my last 3 or 4 days worth of research. Y'all see this? This is why it's so much. Because I don't study it from one level, one place. I study it from many places. And the Illuminati is, let me correspond. I do all of this. I've studied many of the various disciplines and branches right here. I done studied music. I've studied, of course, astrology associated with tarot. I done studied the natural resources. I've studied colonization and imperialism. All of these things. I've studied the, as you just seen, time, AD, the calendar. All of these things are here. It's impossible for me to come up with a complete, workable plan or blueprint alone. It's too much. It's overwhelming. The same stood true, that challenge stood true for these countries that sought power, such as Great Britain, United States, China, Russia, Germany. And so they had to compartmentalize, create groups. Those various mystical orders that create the Illuminati, in order to study an individual field to completion. In studying that individual field to completion, they had to identify in this physical realm what exists. Then they had to test each individual thing for its own individual properties. Then they had to cross it with that which they already have known to see what it will bring as a third party or a third element. Then they had to figure out how to execute it in the physical world in order to help make life easier to live, including music. I guess I should finish with the music part and why it's so relevant. I was finishing. Anywho, I was looking at the term AD, after the death of Christ. And I don't really know how to pronounce it, but I'm going to try. I'm going somewhere with this. All of this goes with the Illuminati. It's a whole lot. And I guess that's what makes it boring. It's a whole lot. But it is domino. It's almost like domon, anadomon. Y'all know how to pronounce it. AD, after the death of Christ. And the interesting thing is that it is from medieval times, medieval Latin, and it means in the year of our Lord. Illuminati. Lord. Now, if you pay attention, I just shared that each one, I'm jumping back, each one of those ancient mystical orders were created and granted power and authority and what? Lordship over a particular branch of study. Wow. How could I do it? And again, AD means in the year of our Lord. We want to get religious when we see Lord and God. And if I just look, when I just looked at anno, the A-N-N-O, it only means in the year of some age. What age? Then I broke it down, every single word, every single, what they call it, not synonym, every single, man, I'm telling you, when you study a lot, you get lost. You get overwhelmed. Well, anyway, I'm going to just try to keep it simple. That's where I mess up at. I broke the whole word down. And it says, and equals determiner. The N-O means registered or a registered. The do, as in sound, do, re, mi, fa, so, going back into the Rosicrucian, or the word do, as we know it, is to execute. O-M, remember? I'm over here. Where is that? O-M, goes back to the Rosicrucian. Is a various sound, and it has the mantras have a psychological and spiritual power. I'm going somewhere with this. Representing waking, dreams, and deep sleep, along with the following silence, which is fulfillment. It also has to do with Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, which are what? Integration, maintenance, and disintegration, or the destroyer. I know this is not making sense. I'm just reading the information, and I'm going to try to summarize it for you, because this is very, very important information. Still dealing with AD, Anno Domino, however you pronounce it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The M-I, I guess it's pronounced my. We're just talking about sounds and tones that the Rosicrucians are over studying and executing, explaining the execution of it, is a diatonic scale, third tone, tone E. And what am I saying when I share this? We're talking about the Illuminati. And the MI also stands for military intelligence. And then the many at the end, many, do, or I get a do, many. You can look at the word from various ways, is what I am suggesting. Do, many. Do what? Do what? Do this in a limited intensity. The word many. I'm explaining. Do what? What am I saying that AD stands for? Let me stop. I'm about to jump again. I'm going to make it all make sense by the end of this live stream, one way or another. Is that we know, what is it, BC, before Christ? Have you ever thought about that? Sure not much. We're talking about the Illuminati and its significance in our world. We've also heard about AD, after the death of Christ, or however you pronounce this, Anno, Damo, whatever. What does it really mean, though? Based on breaking the word down, it suggests that at a particular time in the history, it was determined. Remember, it was registered. It was legal to execute various frequencies in order to affect and influence the general population. We're talking about the Illuminati. Right now, I just want to turn to the Rosicrucians, because I know they over music. I know they over melody. I know they over tone and frequency and hertz. So, what can I suggest? What am I suggesting? That the Rosicrucians, whoever the various members are, all geniuses, came to understand the power of tones, and understood how, if implemented masterfully, would regulate the mental state of the masses. This is what was determined by this particular sector of the Illuminati. That's just one thing they've been over. So what am I suggesting? Jumping again back to the 5 most powerful countries in the world. And I tried to track this back. It was more than one person can do. Illuminati is needed, a new one. made of what? The people. People like who? Me, you, and every other layman and laywoman in this whole world. We need a new Illuminati. But we can't have a new Illuminati. Number one, if we don't know what the Illuminati is. And number two, if we ain't going to master ourselves in this world. I digress. I'm going back. 5 top most powerful countries in this world. I tried to track back to really see when imperialism and colonization really started to help people live more easily and more successfully in this physical world. I even tried to look for when imperialism and colonization became very profitable. And I know it's easy to find, but I couldn't find exactly what I was looking for. Why is that important? Because it's my theory, and I did get close to it. But again, I showed you all my papers. I'm overwhelmed right now. Illuminati. Is that when they set this time period, this frame, AD into motion, that was the time frame in which the most powerful countries at that time had planned to take over the world, dominate the world. Yes. Illuminati. How do you take over the world? Well, first you got to know how it works. But in order to know how it works, you got to accumulate enough information about it. You got to try, test it, and then implement it. And that's what the most powerful countries did, and they continue to do. One of the things that I've noticed in my research, again, I'm overwhelmed, but you can pick an area of study. That's my hope for each of you, is that Great Britain has been in the center of everything. I personally believe that they are the most powerful country in all the world. They had their hands in on everything. So, right now, what are we talking about? Because it's time for me to move forward on to something else. Because we're talking about the Illuminati, I want you to come and understand what it really is. So far, we've identified, as of today, the top 5 most powerful countries in this world. And they are Great Britain, United States, China, Russia, Germany. How did they gain their power? Through military force. That's where I must go, military force. And imperialism, going over to some other land, waging war on them, fighting and conquering them, and seizing control of that other land's natural resources. Whether those natural resources were the fish in the water itself, the precious minerals, gems, the substances of the earth. Why did they want it? Because it opened up the opportunity for them to advance the technology. Advancing in technology brings 2 things. It brings physical security upon this world, as well as the ability to take over the world. There are 3 groups. Oh, and they also colonize the land. Because you can't go pick up some land and carry it back where you came from. No, you got to leave people there in order to secure it, to sit. They colonize the land. And there are 3 rules that go with becoming one of the most powerful countries in the world. It is to go after another's land's natural resources, seize them, hoard them, and finally, whatever left, eradicate it. Eradicate means destroy. Destroy it. They are lying to everyone about the natural resources. What are they saying, Jordan? Based on what you know. Now, before I move forward, I want to finish highlighting so we're on the same page. We're trying to pull it together. And so I'm talking about how were these countries able to become the most powerful countries in the whole world? Through military force, through imperialism, through colonization, and gaining the natural resources. But you got to learn how the natural resources work. So they did what? They had to learn this physical realm. See, this stuff go way back. Is what I'm telling you. That's why I brought up AD. before Christ, possibly, I didn't go over there, is that before Christ, BC, whatever it stands for, we did not know in detail about the contents of this earth. Our enlightenment, our level of awareness wasn't there yet. But it was for some, of course. So, we stand on this side of the calendar, AD. And through AD, we recognize that one of the most ancient mystical orders was over coming to understand all aspects that create music. And when I talk about music, I don't know how to compel you not to see music in the way that you see it. The only way I could do that, I don't have it downstairs. Here, my piano's downstairs, is to hit one key on the piano. What is that called? A tone, a key, a frequency, a vibration, whatever key you hit. Or, you ever heard a Tibetan sing a bow? One lap, and it echoes on. Any vibration that is made has power. And since AD, it has been implemented for there to be a consistent frequency that affects and influences the population and their psychology. Okay, going on, because I want to go somewhere. I need to talk about the general population, us. Us back then, and antiquity, and antiquity, as well as now. About the same folk, dressed different a little bit, you know, that kind of thing. We, whether now or then, are the people that created the military forces that permitted those countries to grow in power. We're talking about the Illuminati. Today, these 5 most powerful countries in the world are able to maintain their superior status. Why? Because of their military power. But military power is redefined now, or enhanced now, by what? Weapons of mass destruction that were bought on by what? Advancements in technology that they got from what? From either their homeland or going out seizing and conquering other lands and taking control of the natural resources. So, I'm talking about just everyday folk like me and you. How do we play in all this? Because we're talking about the Illuminati. Not too long ago, I did a live stream, and I talked about and hit on a person's IQ. What's it called? Their intelligence. Someone has said in the live stream that intelligence is not, you know, those intelligence tests, those IQ tests aren't important. They are. Those IQ tests are sufficient enough to allow the higher ups, the people in power, to know what you're capable of doing. Now, we can infer that those people that are in power, as well as the members of these various ancient mystical orders, have a high IQ. Most likely near genius. But what about folks like me and you? Well, folks like me and you, they say our IQs average between, was it 109 and 90? Average IQ. Oh, simple Jane and Joan. Go to work, come home, and do the same thing the next day. Worry about pay the bills. Why is that? We're talking about the Illuminati now. It is because we are in a certain intellectual state of arrested development. Say something. We're talking about the Illuminati today. Your favorite shows on TV, such as the Atlanta Housewives, or You Think You Can Dance or Sing, or whatever the case may be, it don't matter to me. It's all dumb. And it's for a reason. The reason is to do what? Lower your IQ down into the next range, which is between 89 and I think 79. Dumbing us down. You heard that before. You're on YouTube. But this is real. And this is all a part of the Illuminati's knowledge that they execute into the world for the ultimate purpose of doing what? Dominating the world. So I'm going somewhere with this. We're going to go deep in a minute. Let me read in the chat. How you say, let me go back. Jordan says, they are lying to everyone about the natural resources. How we have to pay to live for oil when the earth produces it in the grounds, electricity being generated for free, and the fact we have to pay to drink water when it should be free. But that's very true. And I like that you brought that up, Jordan. So now I move to the another subject matter that's relative to the Illuminati. Like Jordan said, the ground produces the oil, but we're charged for it. Electricity is created by the weather. But let's see, how did we learn to harness electricity? Who was the one that did the electricity? Benjamin Franklin was supposed to be synonymous with electricity. Tesla, Edison, and whomever, synonymous with electricity. Learning how to harness it and how to execute it effectively in order to do what? Hope to make life easier to live. Tesla, Edison, Ben Franklin, whomever, are all masters. What am I saying? Each of those fellows studied, even back in their day, a particular academic field, a particular branch of knowledge. And it had to do with what? Energy. They spent their entire lives studying one field. But even though they spent their entire lives studying one field of study, one branch of knowledge, they still didn't know everything. However, for their times and relative to the civilization's awareness, they were masters. They were geniuses. They learned and they recorded and they passed it down. They were a part of the Illuminati, one of the many branches of the Illuminati. Which one they belong to, I don't know. That would take more research. So, when we, now I need to, how can I say this? Jordan, you're talking about how we pay for water to drink. Remember, there are 3 rules to becoming the most powerful country in the world. The first is to seize, meaning you got to go fight war over it. Or do some type of negotiations. If the negotiations don't work, you got to fight a war. And then it is to hoard. And then what cannot be hoarded, saved, secured. Away from who? The rest of the population. It must be destroyed. I bring that up because you often hear me say, hey y'all, can you download Google Earth? Go on Google Earth and zoom in real close to any major water body. And what you will see is the skull and skull and crossbone, fish skull and crossbone. And when you click on that skull and crossbone of the fish, you'll see that the waters are highly contaminated and you can't even use the waters. All around Google Earth is what I see. I see this. And I ask you to see it so you can be a witness to it, so you can understand what's going on. What am I saying? That there is, who can it be this? There are even people, I don't know, I would have to research it, that study the waters and the waterways and the bodies. They know what the waters have to offer. A particular ancient mystical order was over those particular studies. They learned, they recorded, and they executed for the purpose of dominating the world, controlling the world, and making sure that the rest of humanity could not access these God-given elements or substances. How can I say this? The food. I have a couple of videos on here. I have one that talks about that food stamp thing, SNAP. I have another video talking about giving away Illuminati, sacred knowledge about poison of food, control the population. All of these are various aspects that the Illuminati cover. That's what I want us to understand. Everything I'm talking about in this video are all of the aspects that the Illuminati cover. Again, the Illuminati is a name of an overall set of people that share in a common purpose. And that common purpose is to dominate this world. I got a video explaining, hi Rod, why certain people want to dominate this world. And it is called, one, your ass is grass due to the greatest pyramid scheme. I did that about 3 or 4 years ago. I also talked about it in, I can't remember, why people want to dominate the world. Oh, I know. I did a series of 3 hours. It was called The Spiritual Battle. The Spiritual Battle is on, or something like that. And I talk about why certain people want to dominate this world. And that has to do, it goes back into spirituality. Let me stop and jump. The Illuminati. Why is it so important? Illuminati. It's because the ultimate goal is a spiritual goal. Y'all, there's so much stuff. I'm gonna just say this, and I'm gonna go to try to make it make sense while I'm making this a live stream. The Illuminati is directly related to spirituality. Let me see if I can offer you an example of how the Illuminati and their works are directly related to spirituality. When I do your personal tarot readings or offer you an astrological interpretation, most recently, I've been talking about an astrological alignment. I can't recall what the alignment is, but it has to do with the second house of Taurus. And the second house of Taurus talks about what? Your physical, worldly wants, needs, and desires. It is about the fulfillment of your requisites. What am I saying? You need water, you need food. You know what I'm saying? You need a shelter over your head, you need associations. We like red bottoms, we like night. All of these things are under Taurus. And how as long as we have those things, we're satisfied. We're like the bull in the metal glazing. What they call gaze, glimming. You know what I'm talking about. But if any of those things are threatened, we become that bull in heat. And we see red and fire, and we will do anything to pacify and satisfy ourselves. Say, hypothetically, case scenario, a person is unable to fulfill their earthly and worldly wants, needs, and desires consistently, living in poverty, on and on, never being satisfied, but yet experiencing a state of hell on this physical plane. It does have a direct impact upon a person's soul. But before it gets to the soul state, it fucks with their psyche. And then it makes an impression upon the soul. So what am I saying? I'm saying the Illuminati is a specialized or specific group of geniuses that have existed throughout time. They understood that concept, that poverty break your psyche and it break your spirit, creating hell. However, if you're capable of satisfying your physical, worldly wants and needs, you're pacified, you're satisfied, your psyche is at ease, and therefore the spirit is at ease. These very wealthy people, the elitists, the Illuminati, however you like to label them, are aware of this. And therefore, they move to learn how to not just survive in this physical realm, but for it to be enjoyable. For the purpose of what? Keeping their soul pure. To the detriment of the rest of humanity. People like you and me. And so right now I just want to talk about people like me and you. Everyday folk. That aren't masters in any one field. Not at all. Some of us didn't even finish school. For those that did finish school, some became doctors and lawyers. But they stopped. They stopped. See, the members of the Illuminati don't stop. They take it to the max. The highest IQ that is known is just short of 200. 200 is considered an unmeasurable IQ. Measurable. And I bring that up about the highest IQ possibly known to man as being 200, an unmeasurable IQ, meaning there's nobody that's more intelligent or intelligent enough to check a mother sucker about what they know. Is because these members of the Illuminati have IQs upwards of just short of 200, while the remainder of us only have an IQ that ranges between 109 and 90. That's a big leap, big gap. And due to the systematic what do you call it? The systematic move to depreciate or decrease the IQ of us, we are now, general everyday folks like me and you, IQs are at 89, I think it is, to 79. Meaning we're getting close to dim-witted. Now, how is the IQ measured? Now, talk about the IQ being measured. We're still talking about the Illuminati. A person's IQ is based on their awareness about their surroundings, about that which exists. So what am I saying? And that's just in short. So if you look up the definition, that's not it. That's not what they're going to give you. But that's what it's about. Like, we know now that various tones affect us, you know, and to study those tones increases your IQ. But if you're not even aware that tones affect you, that suggests that you have an IQ that is going toward a dimwit. Why is this important? It is because I asked at the beginning of this live stream, is it possible for us to start a new Illuminati? Is it, would you have to bring to the table of a new Illuminati? I ask this because what are you proficient in? Not only proficient, a master. Not just a master, a genius. Most of us aren't. So, I bring that up roundabout way because I have no order to this live stream. Why is that important relative to the common man and lady, man and woman? It is because we have this below average intelligence and we're not aware of these various branches of knowledge that allow us to master this physical realm. So, those very powerful people, the countries, the military, the Illuminati, those that study the various branches, those mystical orders. Another part of their genius, remember, one of the fields of study is about humankind. And I've seen this field, and I can't remember. I'm overwhelmed. Anyway, they studied, and they found that humans, keeping them at this particular intellectual level, AD, the tone that we are up under, based on my research, suggests that we consistently hear a tone in our overall environment across the world that keeps our intellect from growing. How is it accomplished? I don't know. That would take a little bit more research. So we're kept at this arrested development. We talked about this before. And as long as we stay under this arrested development, we are susceptible to several things. This is the Illuminati's work in our lives. You will not move forward and become a master of anything. You won't become a genius. You will be ruled by the sector of the Illuminati, which is a religious institution or church. You will move to satisfy your physical worldly wants, needs, urges, and desires by any means. The any means or the means is through currency. You need money. And so we take our various jobs. One of the primary jobs that is offered out here that satisfies our physical worldly wants and needs and desires and ego is to have position in law enforcement or military. All of these various aspects associated with our existence on a mundane level are all a part of the collective plan that has been developed through all the sectors of Illuminati. I don't know how to make it make sense. The Illuminati. I'm just talking. Y'all can pick up and watch wherever you want. So let me try again to talk about, it's another thing I want to talk about. When I was talking about the Illuminati, the particular branch, the Rosicrucians, talking about the music, the tones, the frequency, I realized there is one tone in my area that is induced every single month on the first Saturday of the month. Never fails. And that tone is the emergency alert system. I went to, as I was researching, this was another thing I tried to look into, but I'm all over the place, so I can't focus. But the emergency alert system has every first Saturday of the month it goes off. You can hear it all through the environment. So I was like, what frequency is that emergency alert system? Just Googling it, I couldn't find it out. I have to go in depth, I guess. Because I couldn't find the tone, I couldn't find the frequency. There are four, I couldn't find the hertz, which is interesting to me. Because based on my research, see, I can't give you all of my research. That's another thing that's an issue. Is that depending on what that frequency is, it affects the people that experience that sound. And I just wanted to share that to let you know. Oh, don't let me stop. I got to give you more information about the emergency alert system. That the emergency alert system, that sound, that frequency, it's illegal to duplicate it, to spread it in any whim. There was that sound was used in a motion picture or something, and those people were sued. I think it was for $2 billion or something like that. Why? The little research I did, it shows that that particular frequency is reserved just for the emergency alert system. It says something else. Oh, it was something else about that was important. Oh, okay. I bring that up. I want to go back and talk about how there are many, maybe 109, I think, branches of knowledge, academic studies, academic fields, whatever. Talking about frequency. Talked about Rosicrucians being over the music, the frequencies, the sounds, the vibrations, those kind of things, the hertz, understanding what impact it has upon any given entity in its physical realm. That there are disciplines, the two disciplines that correspond to this emergency alert system is not only the music industry. I'm not talking about going into no studio singing or rapping. I'm talking about going to learn the, what they call it, notes and keys and frequencies and vibrations, and it's also broadcasting. The reason why I bring this up, again, I posed a question. Is it possible to start a new Illuminati? One that's for the people and not for the elitists. And I say it is. It is. How do we do it? I guess I could start answering that. How do we create a new Illuminati, knowing that the information that this new Illuminati comes up with will help make life work easier for us? Well, first, we got to choose a field of study, a field. In this case, right now, we know that the Rosicrucians are over frequencies of various type. But we also know that I ain't no Rosicrucian. Some of you are, but I'm sure you're not that advanced. Most of you, anyway. So what am I saying? They're not going to readily give you their information. They're not. Remember, they're a secret society. And their alliance and allegiance is to the elitists, the higher ups, those at least five top most powerful countries. That's what the Illuminati does. They do all the research, investigation, recording, executing of all of the mysteries of this world, and giving that information over to those top 5 most powerful countries in the world to help them do what? Ultimately, take over the world. Now, so I'm saying that me, you, somebody out here got an interest in music, who will spend their whole lives studying every single aspect of music, which includes broadcasting. Again, I suggest you go to Wikipedia and type in outline of academic disciplines to see what the 109 various disciplines are and choose one. We can create a new Illuminati that's geared toward helping to sustain the welfare of the comic population and generation. Another thing we have to tackle is to not allow ourselves to stay in this arrested mental development. We have to break out. It's so much, y'all. I know I'm all over the place. We got to jump out of this arrested development. How have our mental state been arrested? Seized, handcuffed, locked down, can't move forward, we can't see. One, it is the programming. I know y'all hear this. It's the programming on TV that is not allowing you what? The time or the opportunity to focus on a particular discipline and follow it all the way through to mastery, to genius. No, you're preoccupied with Atlanta Housewives. You think you can dance, you think you can sing, whatever the case may be. Star Trek, sports, I don't know. But you're not focusing on one particular discipline and taking it to the max and becoming proficient. No, that's above proficient. Excellent. Masters. How is our mental being arrested? Oh, Y'all, I almost forgot something. This is important. I still ain't pulled it all together. How long I've been on? Oh, I only been on an hour and 20 minutes rambling. That's all. Oh, I got time. Hold on, y'all. I got to talk about some, what is that? What you saying, Jordan? Their time is coming to an end, January 12, 2020. You think? Get ready. You know what? 2020 is going to be on and popping. And I don't think their time is coming to an end. I think our time is actually coming to an end. But we can agree to disagree. We'll see in what? About 2 years. Okay. It was something in particular I want to talk about, y'all. And y'all can feel free to type. I'm just throwing some stuff out here to get your mind ticking. Oh my goodness, so many pages. Y'all see this? Y'all see this? I got all of this going through my head simultaneously. All of this going through my head. All of this going through my head. I was talking about the arrested development and how are they arresting our development. It was something else that I seen. You know, let me tell you why I'm making this video and I'm continuing to try to move forward, even though it's a mess and it's everywhere. It's scattered. It is because, since I've been here on YouTube, I have attempted to break these various subject matters down in small increments. Some people follow me and they keep up with every video. For those that do that, and that's just a rare few, they understand the bigger picture. They're getting all the small, intricate details that's creating the big picture, our reality. And with all of that information, can see where we're headed in the future and make it so easy. But for those that may have found my channel later on or only pick and choose what they watch, then all you're doing is experiencing bits and pieces. In this video, I want you to see the whole plan of the elitists, the most powerful countries in the world, the Illuminati. And I know you're asking, what does this have to do with tarot? What does it even have to do with astrology? Well, the truth of the matter is, all of these things, everything that happens in this physical world is foretold in the stars. Everything. And so, everything that happens, all the small pieces, is affecting, and I keep telling y'all this, it's affecting and influencing your life. Whether it's your love life, whether it's your financial life, whether it's your awareness, your education, it all goes together. And I would like to be able to create a video that shows how everything is interlinked and intertwined. And that's why we're so lost and preoccupied with self and focusing on our own self and well-being. But in this video, I'm trying to give you I'm trying to cut a bigger piece of the pie rather than all those little small details. I'm trying to cut a bigger piece of the pie, and it's hard to do. I see you wrote something, Jordan. I'm about to read it. I was looking for something. I have a video on my channel, and it's called Bling, B-L-I-N-G, Bling. And it talks about the significance of the natural resources in this world, in this physical realm. What are some of the resources that you can call off the top of your head? What various resources? I've mentioned food, what types of food, and vegetation. Without them, we would die. And water. Without it, we would die. Without air, we would die. Without the use and the execution of our precious minerals and metals, we would still be in the Stone Ages. Would be no internet. And I bring this up because how can you live in a realm and not know what real wealth is? Not know why wars are being fought? How can you live in a life and not know why your people suffering or you're suffering? In this live stream, I'm trying to show you why all of these things are happening. And they're directly related to the most powerful countries in this world. And it's directly related to the works of the Illuminati. They are the keepers of all of the information that corresponds with this physical realm, including food, vegetation, minerals, metals, your body, your physical substance, and what you are worth. And how the 3 rules should be in the most powerful country in the world is to seize whatever that natural resource is, whether it's you, wildlife, whatever the case may be, to hoard it, to keep it. For what? And that's interesting. Hoard goes with the second house of Taurus. Remember all those physical worldly wants and needs and desires that you need in order to feel secure, grounded, and stable in this physical world? Hoard and or destroy or eradicate what's left. Why do they destroy or eradicate what's next? That's where I lost my train of thought. For people like me, you, just common layman and woman, they eradicate and destroy everything that they can't seize, secure, put in a vault so that you can't get it. So that you got to do what? Depend on them. Once you're in that state of dependency, guess what? They rule the world. They rule you. This is what the Illuminati has brought to the world. It's so interesting to me how the Illuminati is trendy in this pop culture. And we have all of these, what do they call it? The conspiracy theories. It's no conspiracy. You can research anything that I'm talking about right here with your laptop or your phone. You can see it. Another thing, and when I bring up the laymen and women, we want to know there are people that are sick, dying, suffering from mental illness, depression. We got a lot of people committing suicide and so on, cancer, AIDS. All these things are real and they're all affecting you and the rest of humanity. I'm just going to ask you a question to try to make this make sense. Who do you know that has heart disease or has died of heart disease? Who of you knows somebody with AIDS or has AIDS? Do you know anybody suffering from depression or has committed suicide or can't function in society? You never asked yourself why? You never tried to really figure it out, huh? Well, guess what? Remember, 3 rules: seize, hoard, and or destroy or eradicate anything that they cannot control or seize or lock away in a vault that is not beneficial, that is draining the resources or demanding upon the resources, including you and me and our people. So, disease is introduced. This is a whole nother video. I'm trying not to get lost because disease is a whole nother video. But just to show you what the Illuminati has brought to this world. The Illuminati that has an allegiance to the most powerful countries and families in the world that don't care about you and me. That's the Illuminati. I am suggesting that we can create our own Illuminati if we understand what the Illuminati is. It is breaking up into sections and sectors in order to learn the various aspects of this world and bringing it to one leader in order to be able to execute it under a government for all the people. That's what the Illuminati does. They study everything. And so we can begin to study these various fields knowing that the Rosicrucians or the Freemasons or whatever, they're not going to give us the information. They've been keeping it forever. And we're dying. Back to people dying or suffering various ailments. Why? Why? Well, this is something that I'm sure we're not aware of. We're not conscious of most of the time. That our bodies was built to last. I talked about this early on in my what do you call it, career here on YouTube. Our bodies were built to last. However, we don't take care of them. We dog them out. I ain't even go through all the ways, but cigarettes, drinking, partying, staying up late, getting fat, getting thin, doing all the kind of beauty stuff. We're destroying this machine. Our bodies is an intricate machine that was built to last for an appointed time, but we are breaking it down by doing the things that we do. The things that we do have been created. All the various things that we get into, whether it's serious, come from what? The Illuminati, y'all. Yes, yes. They create, they research, they find out what you like and what you need. Now, it satisfies the ego or the five senses, and then they give it to you. We use it. It breaks us down. Purpose of what? Leading the body to deteriorate, to break down, and to be devastated much, much, much earlier than it was made to do. For the purpose of what? Eradicating. That's the third one. Eradicating that which they can't seize control of, placed in a vault, and or you are or we are a demand or a drain upon the natural resources. Stop. I made a video about this. I made a video about what? How which video is this in? Oh yeah, the one that says your ass is grass due to the world's greatest pyramid scheme. I'm still talking about the Illuminati now and all that is contributed into our lives and worlds. Anyway, that video, your ass is grass due to the world's greatest pyramid scheme. I talk about how we individuals in the past, historically, we worked and we hoarded all of the natural resources Jordan was talking about, and we gave them over to these very powerful countries, these elitists. All of it was a plan created and bought on by the Illuminati. And now we're sick and we're diseased and we're weak, and we're waking up slowly and realizing that we can create our own Illuminati. How can I say this? The elitists, the powerful, the most 5 powerful countries in the world. Not all of the people of the population are important or are powerful. Not at all. Those 5 most powerful countries have specific families that just happen to reside in that part of the world. How can I say this? And so we just kind of round the prestige off to the country. But it's actually only families like the, what do they call it, the Queen, her family. United States, I don't know who's the biggest thing up in the United States. Who's the biggest thing up in China? Who's the biggest thing up in Russia? Who's the biggest thing up in Germany? The biggest family. We just rounded off to the country, the demographic area in which they reside. They don't need nobody else but themselves. They're geniuses. They're workers. I'm trying to get somewhere with this. Eradication. Disease. Trying to get y'all to understand where we are as people in this world. The first thing we need to overcome through understanding is that we aren't just here. We're not born and just die. We're not just here. We're not just supposed to allow life to live us, but we're supposed to live life. We're not being aware. We're not being conscious. One of the things that we're not conscious about, I'm guilty of it too. I'm going back over what I just said, is that this physical vessel that we reside in, each of us have, is built to last. The Illuminati, through their studies, came to understand the wants and needs that we have as people, as human beings, and they created systematically whatever it was that would satisfy us, tantalize us. We partake of it. We bit the proverbial apple. And because we bit the proverbial apple, it is destroying our physical vessels early. This is beneficial to those that want to conquer the world. They want to take over the world. Why? Because all of these people are a big drain to the resources that we've plucked, is what I was trying to bridge. We gave it to them. We did the work. We plucked it and gave it to them. They store it. They put it in a vault. We buy little bits and pieces of the things that we work so hard to harvest. We gave it over. If you have enough money, you might be able to get a little bit back to get what AZT, diabetes, insulin. You know, you might be able to get a little bit back. All that stuff was made by the natural resources that we harvested. But we didn't have enough intelligence in order to learn how to manipulate those various substances to help us in this life. And so because now we're sitting up here saying, oh, elitists, oh, most powerful countries in the world, we're sick. Can we get some insulin? Can we get some ACD? Can we get whatever? They said, no, motherfucker. I'm not going to give you this back. That don't make no sense. I just had you work yourself half to death to go get it, and I'm going to give it back to you. No. Eradicate you is what I'm trying to say. All of this is set up by the Illuminati. So what am I saying? I'm saying, oh, I had to talk about something else. Sure, I'm just talking because I know this is a mess. Just ride with me. Illuminati. Can we create a new Illuminati that serves the people? Civilization. Not just the elitists. Not just the wealthy, the rich, the most powerful countries in the world. The families that reside in the most powerful countries in the world. Not them, but us. I said we can. Now, how quickly can we do that? Well, it depends on how dedicated we're going to be, you know. Well, first and foremost, all the Illuminati, y'all, they did a job on us. If I could really, really break this down, they did a job on us. It depends on how quickly we're ready to advance, to wake up, to become aware, to become geniuses. Anybody can be a genius. Well, unless you personally got, a person is naturally just, challenged. But if you have reached the level of a normal IQ between 109 and 90, you can be a genius. You can study for the remainder of your life one particular discipline and learn that mother sucker inside and out and execute it. And not only do you learn that one discipline, that one field of study, you got to have allies that have studied other branches, so that they call it interdisciplinarian or something, where you work with others, a colleague, and execute it into this world for the benefit of humanity. The issue is, it ain't that you can't be a genius, because you can. You can become a master in any particular field. You can be a genius. But the issue is the Illuminati, through their studies, figured out a system that will preoccupy your mind. And what part of that system am I going to talk about right here? Working 30, 40, 50 hours a week and breaking you down physically. So what am I saying? Systematically, through the Illuminati studies and research, they found that if they executed a particular system, it will monopolize your time, your money, and your energy, etc., for generations. And you will never be able to turn around and create another Illuminati, another way of life. But I say that you can. Only thing you got to do now is start to study. And this part of the live stream, we're talking about taking on a particular branch of knowledge. It's not so much for the older people. I would suggest that we all do it, but especially for the younger generation. This is what I'm trying to move into, the younger generation. And I've talked about this a little bit. And especially little children now that are just born. We have to, Illuminati did a job on us. The younger generation, if you're like high school, pick a field and ride that motherfucker till the wheels fall off. Become a genius for the people. Why is this important? As I said, the Illuminati did a job on us. There are, and I talk to the younger people because remember, those masters, those people that were geniuses became masters and geniuses because they studied this stuff, whatever they feel was expertise. They studied it their whole entire life. Now, I'm old. I've been in a little everything. I'm already confused. But if you're young, you ain't got much, weighing on you. You ain't got life weighing on you. You ain't got a bunch of kids weighing on you and imprisonment or whatever, illness and stuff. You ain't start consuming all this stuff. Then you got a pretty clear slate to move forward and become a genius or a master. That's what I'm saying to the younger generation. This is the part where the Illuminati, y'all, ain't got you unless you let them have you. I'm trying to transition. I'm trying to go somewhere. I'm trying to talk about the game the Illuminati is running on us. Now, it's interesting. I keep saying it. It's interesting to me how Illuminati is such a trendy topic, and how it is. It's all these conspiracy theories surrounding them. I say there's no conspiracy. I'm trying to sit up here and tell you what's going on. Young folks, the Illuminati don't fully have their hooks in you yet. You can move forward, study a particular field, become a master, and even a genius. Why is this possible? One, you most likely have not consumed all of the toxins that the older generation have. Two, it is because you have a whole life to live in order to become that master. Now, this is where the Illuminati is moving upon you. I mean, they're moving upon all of us, but especially the younger generation. They are moving upon you because the mindset, especially in an urban area, is that the young folk won't live long. So they live in fast and hard. Another thing, I did a video about it. I did one called Dope Drugs. I did another one called Game, Recognize Game, where I talk about drugs throughout history and their significance in our lives. And one of the things I talked about, the one drug popular, glamorized, is marijuana. Back in the day, what I tell y'all in the video, I don't know if y'all seen it or not. Let me show you, because I want you to get the gist of what I'm saying, how the Illuminati playing you. Back in the day, when I was a young girl, there were joints. A lot of weed, but we smoked joints. And this is too little. Now, they got y'all smoking blunts. Blunts, joint. Blunt, joint. It's a difference. Okay? Can you see that? Joint. And the joint, when you got big, was it? Maybe about that big. Blunt, joint. And the younger generation, I'm speaking primarily an urban area where I live, is, and I know it was 1990, I shared this in that video, 1991, that they claimed the Jamaicans bought in all of this weed and the trend of the blunt that never died out. Here we are 29 years, 28 years later. Everybody's been smoking blunts for 20 years. In comparison to historically, we smoke joints. Why do I bring that up? And that's just one drug. Y'all can locate those videos. I talk about that because we're talking about the Illuminati significance in our lives. and how it is no conspiracy that even the infusing of these drugs into our communities, and I'm not just talking about the black community or the urban community, I'm talking about overall, because this has nothing to do per se with black and white. It has to do with a domination of the world and the rest of it. That's what it's really about. Is that talking to the younger generation, Illuminati working to do a job on you. They gotta hurry up and take your mind. Little take them all day to take your mind. But if you blowing blunts all day, they have your mind in a few years. They have your will in a short while. They moving on you. Another way they moving on you is educationally. They have changed. I talked about this in which video? Talking about education. Were you just born that dumb? Was one of the videos I made. Were you just born that dumb? And what other educational video did I make? Anyway, I talk about how they have reformed the, what they call it, the educational system and the criterias and the requisites and just the whole learning system itself. And what they've been doing away with is structure. I gotta tell y'all this. I don't know who in here, how many y'all in here listening to me ramble. Oh, Jordan, I'm about to read it. I want to talk about this educational. I need y'all to get with me. It's so much. It's so important. And we need to know. It ain't we need to know or we die. You, Jordan, you talked about 2020 or we die. I'm telling y'all what's up. This is for real. And it's coming through whether y'all believe it or not. And everything I'm reading, from astrology to y'all tarot. Certain things I can't tell you unless you're willing to see this world for what it really is. And right now, I'm talking about the Illuminati's contribution into your life. Primarily, the young. The young. So, we already talked about little marijuana. And the significance of it. And how you don't have a point of reference to remember when a motherfucker was smoking joints. You came up, watch a motherfucker smoke blunts. They gonna have your mind in a short while. Now, educational. They are taking away from the educational system. Basically, in short, they say, you don't have to learn the English language. Not like we used to have to do. You don't have to learn how to do cursive. You don't have to know how to articulate yourself. And I understand that some of this stuff has to do with, you see things here on YouTube, what I'm talking about, you see things on YouTube talking about the English language is the spell it is. Or how signature is, you're okaying. Or your name's being in capital letters, it talks about your straw man or you as a corporation. It is. But the way the educational system is being reformed will not permit you to know these little tricks that have been discovered and created by the Illuminati. This ain't no conspiracy theory. What am I saying? Are any of you, it doesn't matter what age, but I am talking primarily to the young, facing any legal issues? You know, the law is another branch of knowledge in which there is a particular ancient mystical order that is over structuring of the law and the language associated with the law. Understanding that there are various areas of law. One is natural law. One is, we got all types of, I bring up natural law or divine law. Law of attraction, those things are real. Even our government system, your judicial system in your state acknowledges these various areas of law, including divine and natural law. But you won't know that. You don't even know your signature and the power of it. What am I saying? I'm talking about how the Illuminati is playing on the younger generation. You're getting where you don't want your education. Vanity. Vanity. Oh, it's so much. The Illuminati doing a job on us. Vanity. Young folks, everybody wants to look beautiful. But how vanity and conceit, we're in this Venus season. Vanity and conceit creates limitations and boundaries. Remember, Saturn is in, what is it? Saturn is in Capricorn. Talking about the old structures and rules. Let me stop. I want to try to give you a couple of examples because I want to preach, but I ain't got nothing to preach on right now. Young folks, the Illuminati is coming at you. They don't have you yet. Your body is, most of you, still sound. If you're engaging in any drugs, I suggest limit it. I ain't say stop. I understand, but limit it. Why? Because the main purpose is to devastate your machine. Once your machine is devastated, ain't much you can do. The next thing is get your education. I understand. I ain't even going to say what I'm going to say, but I understand about the education. But the education is directly related to the Illuminati. I had a problem when I made this video too. Because, let's say, I don't know which sector. See, I need to go through all of them. I had to find them all and go through them so I could tell y'all which is which. The sector of the Illuminati. Here's the Illuminati. It's the overall world groups, various groups creating the Illuminati. With one of those groups is over education. The magic spells that exist in writing. You won't know. You won't understand the structure. What do they mean by spells? I'm going to give you, still keeping with the law, spells. The spell is, oh, I should have got some of my law papers. I didn't know I was going to go here. It says, you can get a summons. I was asking, did any of you have any legal issues? You could get a summons in the mail. Someone is suing you or has a complaint against you. They will state their complaint against you. That is creating a spell, whatever that complaint is. So it would be up to you as the person that is defending themselves to debunk the spell, which is their complaint. And I bring that up and why it's important for you to get your education and to do so enthusiastically is to understand that everything you're learning in school is going to help you offset the attacks of the Illuminati. Ain't no conspiracy. I talked about music and understanding what music is really about. Not the hip hop, not the going in the studio. I'm talking about the fine, intricate details associated with music and the power that it holds. Once you go and master that field, become a genius, you can tweak. This is the importance. This is the stuff they taking from y'all. You can tweak this RAM at any given time. Once you know, they're by taking your interests away from school and focusing it on drugs, recreation, beauty and vanity, glitz and glamour. They know that you're not getting the basics, because that's all is basic education. Basic education is the rules to this realm. So what am I saying? Oh, how can I get this to? I had so many problems with this video. Your future. If you're like, say, 15 now, 16, 15 to 20, your future, 10, 20 years from now, you will face adversity brought to you from one of these various branches, like the law or the health industry or food and agriculture, and or I'm trying to think of that. You'll face some type of adversity or challenge. But because you weren't interested, or they kept you from being interested, or they redirected your line of thought away from the educational system, you will not know how to fend them off, to debunk them, or to handle it. And I'm going to stop because that's a whole nother video. It's so much. It's so much. The Illuminati, they're sticking it to us. At the current time, the Illuminati is also sticking it to seniors, if there are any seniors that watch this video. Seniors. Seniors. People that's ranging between the ages of 60 and 65 and upwards of 100. Sticking it to them. Why? I'm going to say in short, they were some of the top earners, especially in specific cultures, so social groups. And now their money is dying out. Their power is dying out. They sticking it to them. That's why you hear the issues about Medicare and the various illnesses that are coming up. They are the victims or recipients of the abuse against the machine, the physical vessel. And I'm talking about this. I'm trying to go somewhere with it. It's hard because it's so much. I'm getting overwhelmed again. I was going to talk about, put my glasses back on. That threw me off too. So going back, I want to read the what Wikipedia entered as a description of the Illuminati. These are people claiming to possess special enlightenment or knowledge of things. We've found out that the Illuminati has knowledge about the various branches of knowledge or academic fields. They got that. And because they have particular knowledge about the various academic fields, they have enlightenment. They are aware. Now, this is what the time frame we are in now, the awakening, the enlightenment is about. Hi, Lori, I'm all over the place. Is about. So, again, I recap on how Wikipedia describes the Illuminati, letting you know that they are enlightened beings because they study these various fields of knowledge. They have become masters and are geniuses in their various prospective fields, whatever they're into. We are now entering into the age of Aquarius. This is a time of enlightenment. The older generation is dying off, and so is their financial power. My generation, I'm going to go into that. That's going to be too deep. So I'm jumping to the younger generation. They're attempting to block you, to arrest your mental development further so that you cannot gain enlightenment. They are doing so by introducing and glamorizing drugs to you, as well as leading you to lose your enthusiasm and zeal about education, believing that you will never ever use that knowledge in your life, and it is not true. Others will say that what you are taught is half-baked, is not important, and to some degree it is true. It is half-baked because you got to remember who's teaching you. It is the Illuminati. And they're not going to give their information over just to any old common Jane or Joan. You got to play them. You got to play them. And you play them by doing what? Learning what they got to teach you. Eventually, after you advance so far, it begins to make sense. You can put it in order. But the purpose is, remember, for people, general people, they have to eradicate you. And the only way they can eradicate you is to devastate your physical body, because the body just don't just drop dead. No, it don't do that. No, it has to be devastated. It has to be wounded. It has to be hurt. It has to break down. Move one on you. Move two is to make sure you don't have the information that you need in order to advance yourself or defend yourself against them or question them. And they're doing a hell of a job. And let me read this because I'm getting lost again. It was something I wanted to say, and I'm going to come back to it. I'm going to leave this video up, even though I didn't do a good job. I want to talk about this too. I've only been on here 2 hours, that's all. I'm going to talk. Okay, Jordan talking about Saturn, Pluto conjunct is wiping out old, outdated systems, and those who abuse their power will be in the hot seat. I did a little research. That is what is anticipated, and that's looking at the glass half full, not half empty. And they say there are, of course, there will be some people, Jordan, that I believe that will pay. They will go down. But how can I see it? Remember, we work with a hierarchy. And there are certain people that are in positions of power that are there for the purpose of being thrown under the bus, literally. Our main concern are about the most powerful families in the world that live in those the most powerful countries in the world. That's our main concern. That's our main concern. Because the hierarchy says that there are these very, what they call them, these elitist families. They say they're 1%ers. Those 1%ers are associated with those, our first 5 most powerful countries. Again, it's not all the people in the population of those 5 powerful countries. It is the families that reside there. Those families are the issue. Now, all of those subservient government officials underneath them are there for the purpose of either serving them or being thrown under the bus. The members, various members of the Illuminati are important, possibly to be taken care of by those elitist families, because they are what? The keepers of the knowledge of this realm. Now, in order to be important, you are either the ruling family, you are either a predominant member in the Illuminati, meaning you got the secrets to this realm and you keep the records, and you know how to administer whatever you've learned into this physical reality to make a change, alchemy. And or you are the military dedicated to the protection of the Illuminati in that elitist family, those elitist families. Everybody else is what they call it, expenditures, you know. Then we have over here on the other side, the rest of the world. The rest of the world will have to go to war with these militaries. But I'm going to stop there. Because you were talking about how in the middle you're saying the old system, Saturn, Pluto, conjunct, wiping out the old, outdated systems and those who abuse their power. The system is true. But that's what my videos have been about. Explaining the old paradigm exiting and the new paradigm coming into existence and what it means. When we start talking about old system dying out, I just talked about the old school folk money dying out and their power dying out. We got Ford Motor Company changing. We have, again, we're going to talking about those various branches of academic knowledge, of the academic fields, the branches of knowledge, all those classes we go to college to pursue, those things. Either one of them, I think it's, like I said, 109. You could take either one of them and look at them historically. Historically, whatever it was is dying out. And why is historical roots dying out? It is due to the technological advancements that have happened in each discipline. The more they find out about this realm, the more they can advance, and therefore that which is old is no longer needed. How can I say that and make it make sense? It's no longer, I'm going to just keep him with Henry Ford, simple as I can get it. Henry Ford, famous for the assembly line and the people on the assembly line each having their job to do. Automation, which is a technological advance possible by the various machines, machine joints, the oil, whatever the case, in the computer technology, all those things, technological advancements. Now, when you deal with Ford, it is still synonymous with the assembly line, but now every person that worked, just about every person that worked on those lines are old, outdated, dead, retired, and or been replaced with automation, technological advancement. Or, I mean, again, this is a difficulty. How can I even do this? There are, I believe, at least 109 disciplines. I think it might be more. How can I get on here and go through each of those 109 disciplines, showing the old paradigm or the old way of doing things, introduce the technological advancement that has happened in that particular field or branch of study, and show how it will be executed in the new paradigm? It is in every single field, from psychology, medical, and when we talk about medical, we have surgery, we have general medicine, surgery, so on and so on. So what I'm rambling about, Jordan, now what I'm talking about is, yes, there is a change from the old system into the new system. Destruction is not always in the way of boom, bang. It is outdated because something new is available. Something that makes this world and living in this realm easier or easierly manipulated. And why are the general public suffering? Is because we're not keeping up with the technological advancement. We don't own the resources. We don't know how to mix and match them. Most of us are now alchemists. Going back into something as simple as the Rosicrucians, being over music, tone, frequency, hertz. We don't even know that as general public. We don't know that. So how are we becoming the masters? So what am I saying? In the new paradigm, those that have mastered these various fields will rule. This is another subject matter that I've heard people talk about. And it's about how this is a time in which metaphysics is going to be predominant. That is very true. Now, there are two, I'll put in two categories of metaphysics. Those are those that are the fakers. And then there are the others that are the masters. Due to the IQ of the majority of humanity, many will be led. That's what biblical talk about, false prophets and stuff. They be led by. Because why? Their IQ is low. They don't know no difference. They ain't aware and they ain't enlightened. So here I am trying to introduce it to you. It's just so much. And then there are going to be the real ones. The real ones. And these real masters, these geniuses, will be those that manipulate the structures or the constructs of this world. Because they really do know how to use the tones to make another sucker go crazy. Or to make a person go become numb and still. Or this is a person that, talking about the masters or the geniuses in a new paradigm, know how to 3D a heart and put it in a person and sustain a life and get paid big money for it. And so what am I saying here? I'm saying the Illuminati has done such a job on humanity till we can't see. It is reflected here even in my presentation. I'm all over the place. I'm just kind of seems I recognize it. Just throwing out all kind of information. Take from this what you can take. If you can take that, hey, your education is important. Pursue it. Find one field, ride it till the wheels fall off. Take that. Or take, hey, drugs are being glamorized and for a purpose of dumbing you down and leading one to destroy their physical machine. Take that. If you can, if you're taking from it that AD, when I talked about AD, after the death of Christ, is a time period in which they implemented a system in order to manipulate the psyche of the people. Take it. If you can understand that the Illuminati is a collection of various orders, that have been studying since ancient times, gathering information and knowledge about this realm for the purpose of executing it, for the purpose of dominating this world. Take it. Understanding that the Illuminati is composed of various orders, such as the Rosicrucians or the Knights Templar or the Solar Templar or the Freemasons and the various churches, institutions, and so much more. Take it, research it, expand it, because I can't do all the work myself. I ask you, can we create a new Illuminati? I do believe we can. But what aspect will you cover? What aspect or field will you master? What aspect or field would you continue to move forward and ride it until the wheels fall off? Period. And contribute that to the rest of humanity. Hi Murray, how are you? I just graduated. Don't know whether I can go into college or study on my own. You know what, Laura, if you're still here, I know I just be running my mouth and go to preach it because I want to say this, and I wish I could share this stuff so categorized and straightforward that I could get people to see. Because right after I do this, I want to hit one more thing and then start talking about how it's affecting and influencing our individual lives. So you see, I'm just not over here rambling. I'm talking about this, and it goes with all of everything else I do, including the tarot and astrology. I would suggest, this is what I suggest, based on experience. Everything I share is about experience. It's nothing that I think or I suspect. I live this. Laura, when it comes to you, if you just graduated from high school and you're wondering, should you go to college or not? You have to know you. You have to know you. That's number one. Know you. We know that to go get a higher education, it costs. It costs a whole lot of money. And if you can be dedicated, if you're dedicated to academia, meaning you are willing to study as hard as it takes, you can stay focused on one field and ride it till the wheels fall off, then yes, go to college. But if you know that you're easily redirected, your energy, your mind is easily redirected to what? To boys or guys or love. If you preoccupied with this, love, family, having kids, sex, family issues, and you can't focus your energy on your chosen field, then why go to college? It costs too much. I'm telling you, I share. I'm speaking from my experience. I've always loved learning, but I didn't understand this realm. I always tell all of you, I was very, very naive, very foolish. Now I see. So I did. I went to college. I attended Michigan State University. I attended University of Michigan. I've been in Texas, in Texas at Prairie View A&M. There's a Prairie View A&M. Yeah, I done got around, and but I still didn't. I'm 5 credits away from my bachelor's. Didn't even get that. About I think $87,000, almost $100,000 in debt, and it's never served me. Why didn't I finish? The first time I went straight up out of high school, I was preoccupied with fitting in, being cute, those kind of things. And I met with some harsh experiences at that time. Threw me off. Still, I never stopped studying. Go back to school after I had my 3 kids. Now I got 3 kids. I'm working and I'm going to school. Preoccupied. I didn't know that their lives would be just as demanding. Life demand. My whole point is I was preoccupied with everything other than that field of study. What did it get me? It got me a little more knowledge, but it cost. And an $87,000 or $88,000 debt hanging over my broke head every day of my life. That's what it got me. But if I had known for one time, if I had known that I could not focus on love, I could not focus on home or family or issues or illness, nothing, but just stay my course, my educational course, it would have been worth it. But I didn't know me. I didn't know even what I would encounter. I didn't know my weakness was, I knew I wanted to Cinderella and a happily ever after, but I didn't know that was my weakness. To be in love, to be married, to have children, to then take your home. I didn't know it was very, 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 very difficult to have both. To have both is possible if you got a real strong support system. That was something else I didn't have. It was me by myself. So there was no way that I could carry both. I tried, but it didn't work. And so what am I saying? If you want to go to college and you know you can be dedicated to your course of study for the next 5 to 8 years, then do it. It will be well worth it. But if you know that you have a weakness, such as wanting to be Cinderella or something like that, and that your focus is easily taken off by a guy, love, death, whatever, you really emotionally manipulated by various circumstances of your life, then I would think you should go get some training, certifications in something quick, fast, and hurry, so that you can become gainfully employed. Plain and simple. I hope it make sense to you. Yeah, I mean, that was a serious error on my part, and I'm still living it out. The system is set up to benefit them, not society. Exactly. That's why I posed the question, Jordan, about can we start a new Illuminati? And yes, we can. We possibly can, long as we know what we're dealing with. And the issue is, I mean, YouTube is a wonderful platform to be able to have outreach. However, when I say, if y'all could really see the game that the Illuminati orchestrated and implemented to humanity, is deep. And if a person had enough charisma and a social outreach and influence and could create a lecture or a presentation that summed it up hard hitting, I think those people that they touch would be changed forever, because they're able to see and understand. And therefore, once you can see and understand what is really taking place, you can create a plan. And the whole point is to make sure that we're so confused, I'm an example right here, that we can never see clearly enough in order to set a plan up to counteract what they've done. And it's deep. It says, I've been learning tarot and yoga. I want to have my own studio someday. I needed to hear this. Thank you. Very good. Now, if yoga is your thing, what do they call it? You can go to college and you can do training too, as far as flexology. But what do they call it? Reflexology, I think it is. Like the people that do the sports training with the people. You know, if you can go to college, again, if your energy ain't redirected easily, you ain't emotionally manipulated to, you know, focus your energy, and you can focus on the discipline, then I want to call it reflexology or something in college and get a degree, but right till the wheels fall off. See, I think of what happens to mundane, common people that do go up through college. They get to this level of contentment. Oh, I've got my degree. Now I've got my job in this particular area. I'm working with the NFL or a sports team or NBA, and I'm helping them, you know, be safe from wounding or hurting. But their level, what I'm trying to think of it, I think it's called refresh coach or something like that. A person that becomes a refresh coach, which could be used in yoga, has a level of understanding about the physical body and anatomy. That's another area of knowledge, discipline, and study. But many people that gain their degree or certification in that particular field of study usually stop after they cross the stage, they get their degree, and they obtain a job. Let's say a person gets like the ultimate job. They get to work and condition these famous players of the NFL or what they call it, you know what I'm talking about, sports teams. they've hit their plateau, they stopped, they done. They just keep on going to work, refreshing them and getting paid and living that life. However, that's just a certain level of mastery, and based on the IQ, it says a person that reaches that level is, where's the college one? It's 115. The IQ is between 115 and 124, and it's considered above average, meaning that you are awakened. You are conscious of a particular portion of your surroundings or existence. You've become proficient in it. However, if that person was not to get stuck or stagnated by, I got my degree and now I got this job that I'm working with the NFL or the NBA, and you know, I'm living that life. If they were to continue to move forward, it is expected that they will move up to an IQ of 120 through 140, which is a very superior intelligence, and is moving up and near to genius level, the level of mastery, the level of the alchemist. So what am I saying? You go to school, Laura, and you may major in, what they call it, again, refreshing, reflex coach or whatever. If you continue to even move past what you are taught during your college years, not only being proficient so you can get a job, but you continue to, it's not about even, how can I say it? There's a break that exists. I'm just talking, y'all. I just feel like talking. There's a break that exists. And right now I'm talking about IQs, fields of study, and the various levels. Right now, I'm at the level where a person is graduating and walking across the college stage. Their IQ is between the IQ is between 115 and 124. They're proficient. They can go get a job in their particular field, and it is expected they will be able to do the work successfully with no problem. Right there at that spot. This is another thing. Now we're starting to talk about the Illuminati. People getting to this level of mastery, of the alchemist, of the genius, that we can say, how you say it? When a person walks across, let's say they got their PhD, they doing that walk. PhD in a particular field of study. They done rolled a particular academic wagon until the wheels have started to wiggle, but the wheels ain't fell off. What am I saying? That if a person achieves a PhD in a particular field of study, they have common knowledge about the majority of the basics associated with that field. However, we're talking about getting to the point of being having a super or superior intelligence and or genius. How do you get there? Now, once you know all of the information associated with one academic field. Now, this is many, but let's just say this is one academic field. The wheels are wobbling. Now, what I learned here at the bottom may go with this up here, but I haven't been taught that. These two together can create this, which I found in the middle, like generic drugs. What they call them? Generic drugs. What's them synthetic drugs? You know, you come to understand. You move beyond proficiency, knowing all the information. You got all the information on to mastery. What it means, all that is known in this world about that particular field, you got readily accessible to you. However, have you taken the time to see how these various elements interact and can make a difference in this world? That's what leads to becoming a genius. A genius. And there are not many people in this world that are geniuses. Why? Because we have the Arrested Development. Why? Because the Illuminati has systematically set up various constructs in this physical realm to either redirect our minds, where we can do it voluntarily, and or they create situations and circumstances that lead one to involuntarily redirect their focus in their minds. Anyway, just talking about that, that's moving from being a college grad on to being a genius. That's the difference. Are you ready for the September 24th full moon? I am. I'm ready for it all. Bring it on. Bring it on. Because was that in Pisces or something? What was that in? I was looking at that. Is it Aries? I forgot. I was looking at it earlier. Now, what I want to talk about is, well, I guess I was kind of in there going at, because I have here, this is from a whole nother study. And I'm talking about the elitists, which are those people that are in power. It's in Aries. Yeah, okay, I thought so. The elitists, those people that are in power, those families that reside in the most powerful countries in the world, that have controlled all the natural resources and therefore are technologically advancing quicker than any other areas or regions. Anyway, these people in power are geniuses. They're proficient in one or more areas of field or academic studies. The truth is that humanity is in a place where we gotta move. We gotta move. Is what it is. We gotta move. When I say gotta move, we gotta create our Illuminati, or we gonna do what? I ain't gonna say it. I'm gonna leave that for y'all to figure out. Why is this important? Again, it's so much. So much. Again, remember the Illuminati is the Illuminati is composed of various departments or orders. And each of those orders are giving power and authority or lordship over a particular branch of knowledge. Another branch of knowledge that I know that we don't think of as being governed over and studied and tweaked in order to affect humanity is like the food industry, and it's called agriculture. I went to Michigan State University, and they were one of the they believe one of the top universities relative to agriculture, and so I bring that up because the Illuminati, the order that is over agriculture, again, I'm not sure of. I will have to study that. That's a whole nother area of intense study. I'm just kind of all over the place. But still talking about how the Illuminati is affecting and influencing humanity. That particular sector of the Illuminati that has been over studying agriculture has decided that in order for the elitists, the most powerful families to rule the world, they had to make sure that the rest of the population didn't have food readily available to them. This is the move of the Illuminati. This is no conspiracy theory. Therefore, genetic modification of the seedlings of our various vegetations have been tweaked in order to create seedless vegetation. Why? So that the general population cannot use those seeds to plant their own harvest, their own gardens, in order to have their own food, leading humanity to be dependent upon the system. I bring that up because it's coming to understand the role of the Illuminati again, and the various tricks that they are executing that are devastating humanity. As we move from the old paradigm into the new paradigm, the age of enlightenment is happening. The age of enlightenment is now. Things such as this, where the information is being offered to you. As you see, it's extensive. Because based on the various techniques that the Illuminati has cultivated and executed upon society, the world, humanity, it is scheduled for the new paradigm to be one in which food is not readily available. So I go back and speak to you again, Jordan, about the people in power getting theirs. Based on the timeline we are currently on, food will be 100% in their control. What they cannot control, they will destroy. Water is another thing. If they cannot control it, they will destroy it. Everything that you can think of that you need to live your life and to be secure and safe and grounded in this physical world will be governed by these elitists. And we will be left to their whims, or whatever they want to do. This is a fact associated with the new paradigm. Now let's talk about, in closing, I'm going to try to reorganize this and do it again. I'm going to have to do one at a time, but I wanted to try to do it multiple layers at a time, but it's still too overwhelming, and I'm not doing it good. So let's talk about us as individuals and love. How does all of this play in our love lives? Try to keep it simple. Love life. Love. I can think, and these are things we don't think about. The love life. Illuminati. A part of their plan has been to systematically affect and influence the food supply, whether it's by removing the seedling, contaminating what is left, or whatever the case may be. It goes, is various levels to everything I talk about. And we can talk about those levels based on demographic areas, whatever the case may be. We can talk about it from an economic standpoint as well. So what am I getting around to? I'm talking about various levels of living associated with food. Not only are they removing the seed for the overall global situation, in a particular demographic area, we have people that may be living below the poverty level. How can I say this? A lot of people are living below the poverty level, and therefore cannot afford the better foods, better quality foods. And as a direct result of them not having better quality of food, they may have increased weight or more health issues. So, going back to the Illuminati's contribution of the standards of beauty, all of that is also implemented by Illuminati, a department of the Illuminati. The mind frame, remember we talked about it earlier, the philosophy relative to the standards of beauty come down to the basic level, and you have someone who may not fit the standard of beauty. I've done a video about that before. A person does not fit the standard of beauty possibly brought on or induced by the inability to eat more healthier foods or appropriate foods, or whatever the case, get out and exercise, whatever the case may be. And why am I bringing this up? Recently, I met a couple of young ladies that weren't the healthiest. I know I'm not the healthiest, but they weren't the healthiest. They did not at all fit the standard of beauty. They weren't. They didn't have the level of elegance. They were just here in this physical realm, and their complaint was this is just general conversation about not having love in their life. Well, one was, and the other was about having love in her life, but the gentlemen that she entertained with or engaged were like using her or indirectly abusing her, not physically abusing her, but they weren't respecting her. Why? Basically, she didn't fit the standard of beauty. They thought they could run over her. You know what I'm saying? And so what I just use those examples is to show you how it trickles down. All of this that I've been stumbling over, it all trickles down into our lives. It all trickles down into our life. Just like I was talking about Henry Ford. It was a time where families were much stronger. Why? Due to the earning potential, the ability to meet the demands of life. But when those jobs were outsourced or outdated due to animation, the earning of a spouse dropped considerably. And we're wondering why. What am I talking about? We're wondering why some of our mates are leaving, why they're not being as dedicated as they were maybe a couple of decades ago. Well, the earning potential has changed. And how could I say this? And what I'm attempting to do is showing how these various systematic tactics that the Illuminati has created and executed upon humanity dwindles down even into our personal life, and why I'm attempting to do this particular video where I talked about various aspects associated with the Illuminati. If you have a spouse that a significant other that might not stay dedicated to the relationship or the partnership or pay or contribute, it is directly related to the, what do you call it, the economics that have changed over the last few decades. That is why. What I'm saying, if we want this madness to slow down, because it's not going to stop, such as people that aren't dedicated, won't invest, won't contribute, won't work with you, we have to deal with the bigger issue at hand. And the only way we can deal with the bigger issue at hand is to literally deal with the bigger issues. And that's why I was talking about creating a new Illuminati. I don't even know if this is making sense now. I really don't. I don't even know how to make that make sense. Back it up. I want to put it down and show you in your life why certain things are happening and how we can rectify it. But it's no overnight rectification. That's another truth. That's another truth. A lot of what's going on is directly related to some hardcore facts. Hardcore facts, they're not easy to swallow. But if we want change to start, then we have to start somewhere. The change won't start until we start somewhere. As of now, we're on a particular course. And we won't be deviating from that course until we do something. The first move, it seems, on divinity part, in order for us to give us the opportunity to deviate from the course that we're on, is to awaken, offer us the time of awakening or enlightenment. It's here. But can we accept it? Can we see? Because if a person deliver a message like me, you probably be confused forever. So what am I saying? A lot of things, the challenges that we are encountering right now, most likely won't be eliminated. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Won't be eliminated. Unless our first state of recovery is through the awakening of humanity. If that is accomplished, we can expect some changes. Very minor, minute changes. The next level of changes is directly related to our young adults that are, coming through high school now, about to enter college. You have a chance. Don't allow the Illuminati tactics to get you. And our greatest potential for comeback is in the babies that have yet to be born and our very, very young folks, like under 5. They are the key. They are the key. And the only way we can activate them as a key is to awaken. This is what it's really about. I'm trying to tell y'all the truth from what I understand. The truth of the matter, and I'm going to close with this because I'm just rambling because I can't get it together. The truth of the matter, this awakening that we're going through is not so much for us as it is for the distant future. You hear me talk about the distant future. The key to the change to what? This experience being for humanity and not just for specific people or groups, lies with those babies like 5 and under. It lies with them and those not born. However, we that are of age do not have the knowledge base, the IQ to pass down the information or legacy to those babies. The bridge between the older generation and them little babies is the young adults now. Like I said, around the age of, right, going into college and high school and middle school and stuff. They the bridge between us and the babies. And so that's why the Illuminati have to wipe them out. Because they are the big sisters or the parents to the babies. We have the point of reference that closes in a time gap. They are the bridge to the babies, which means we are responsible for waking up, gaining all this information and seeing it clear, unlike I'm able to offer here in this live stream, in order to teach it to the next generation, the younger generation, the young adults. However, the young adults must be receptive to the information. They need to understand why they are learning it and what they are learning and for what purpose and where it will take them. And them, as truly the guardians of the younger babies, will have those babies raised up in a way of thinking, a particular frequency. The frequency of what? Being awoke to what is really taking place and all the systems that have been what? Learned and executed through the Illuminati for the purpose of sustaining the most powerful families in this world. Now I'm going to let y'all go. I've been all over the place. I don't feel like I done flew to the moon and back. I'm going to try again one day to put it in order. But again, I done threw a whole bunch of stuff out there. Grab something that you can resonate with. And maybe, just maybe, you can study it and present it. Because I can't do it all. I don't know. One take the area of food. One take the area of music. One take the area of this. I don't know, somebody. And then we can come together. But the point is, it is our time. I gotta say one more thing. I see you, Jordan. I'm about to read again. I gotta say one more thing. I don't have that binder with me. Nope, I ain't got the binder with me. I did the study on the various generations and their contribution to where we are now. I'm talking about, how we talking about the generation X, Y, Z, whatever. So we're talking about previous generations, the older generations, most of which have died out. But many of those generations did not deal with the issues that existed at that time and left them for the next generation to deal with. And so my generation had about at least two generations issues to deal with, including our own. Now, so when we're talking about the two from that's on my generation, plus my generations, we got 3 generational concerns or issues, umbrella of issues that we need to address. Younger generation that's going into college or in high school. Now, if we don't do this, it's going to fall on them. We're making it 4 on them. It's already 3 on my generation, I'll say. So, in order for us to answer those concerns that have not been addressed, address those concerns that have not been addressed, is for us to go through the awakening process. Awakening to what was taking place to become enlightened. That is the goal for my generation. When I say my generation, I might need to make a graph. Well, we have a certain generation. I want to say that, well, we know when a person writes their last will and testament, it says that I am in the right mind. So we're talking about anybody in their right mind. So you can be upwards of 80. Anybody in their right mind. As young as, I'll say, I want to take it to 30. I think it's about 30 or so. Might be a little bit older. 30, 35. We are the generation, we are responsible for seeing this awakening through, this ascension through. That is our spiritual obligation to do so. To fail is going to have its residual effects in the physical world as well as in the spiritual world. I know I've been talking for about 3 hours because, as y'all see, it's so much that I'm trying to talk about. I'm just sitting everywhere now to get it all out. I would like to put it in order, but I can't. But this is what I see. And y'all know, y'all be like, how you know that? How you know that? And I ain't mad at you. I told you, I've always asked why. Again, I won't want to make a live stream, go through a live stream, which I help show you how I research so you can research so you can see what I'm talking about on your own. That's a whole nother, going to be a whole nother complicated confusion, sack of mess, but okay. How do I know? Through everything. Through everything. So you know too. That's what I'm saying. You are capable of knowing through everything that you experience. If you just stop looking at it surface level. Take one aspect out of your life. I don't care what it is. And study it. Ride it till the wheels fall off. And you'll begin to see. All you got to do, I'm telling you, all you got to do is activate one area of your life fully. And ride it till the wheels fall off. Meaning investigate it, research it, come to understand the in and out of any given aspect of your life. And you will begin to see. When I say you begin to see, you'll begin to see the system that is set up. Systematic, methodical system that is set up. And it covers everything that I've talked about. And it's to catch y'all. And it's so much more. It's so much more. I call myself picking just a few fields to try to talk about simultaneously. And it's so much more. And so that's why I say just pick one thing in your life and focus on it and study it. Say give yourself a time frame. Say I'm going to study it for a month. I'm sure it'll take you on and on and on, but 1 month, one area. 1 month, one area. And you'll begin to see all of this. Why? Because it's all interlinked. We're all connected and it all plays together. I don't know how to describe it any further. And another thing I'm really concerned about and very upsets me is that through all of my studies, it don't matter what it's been in, or not my studies, my life experiences, don't matter what it's been in, that what I share here and talk about here on my channel seems to be what it's all about. All of this is all about. But we've been led to believe that we don't know the answers to these things. But we do. And how when I watch other people's channels, because I be trying to watch and see how they're describing some of this, it's the language. It's the language that is in itself can be confusing. where people are sharing, and I was like, well, how I be trying to look at it, you know, unbiasedly. Well, how is a person supposed to understand? Again, I be asking how, why, what. How is a person supposed to understand what they talking about? It don't matter who video want, but that don't even make any sense. Especially if a person is not advanced to a certain level. How is they going to understand that? Well, how is they going to understand that? First, we got to spark your interest. And that's what I'm trying to do. I hope I did. Spark your interest. You may already have a particular field of interest. Ride it till the wheels fall off. Come to see and understand. Become what? A master. A genius at it. It's going to help you and it's going to help the world. And don't get caught up in these old system, those stupid system. I'm just fussing now, y'all. Let me see what y'all talking about. I've been on here. I'm going to be on here 10 more minutes because I'm going to find something to cuss and fuss about. 10 more minutes. And I've been in there 3 hours. Why not? Full moon in Aries. I'm an Aries. We going into the age of Aquarius. I have that in my Neptune and Uranus. What's that mean? You said, let me read yours. Don't forget Uranus and Taurus, how food has been used, them adding these chemicals. Right. If they can't hoard it, then they got to destroy it. And destroys are killing two birds with one stone. Chemicals, and we going to eat and kill us. That's what it's about. That's going to change. They will get theirs one way or another. Eventually. I haven't been able to see that far, but that's interesting, you know, that, and I've been asking God, I'm like, God, please show me. I'm ready. I got so much information, and maybe it's for me to learn how to organize it in order to present it, but I'm ready to see, because I see, but it's not what I want to see. I want to see them get it. I'm pissed off and I'm mad. I'm mad to the mother sucker. I can't even explain. And I would love to see them get it. But how can they get it when they are the ones that understand masterfully this realm? And so they know how to tweak it in order to sustain it. Now, going into that scenario you speak of about them getting it. See, now that's where the earth come into play and its relationship to this universe, grander scale of things. And the last time I sat in a college class, which was a long time ago, all my education probably outdated. Good enough to share with folks that ain't had no education. So, but I remember sitting in class and I think it was natural science. It was earth science called. I don't know. And I'm sitting there, and the teacher was taught. We were studying the sun, our sun, and it was talking about how our sun was in its final phases, in which is anticipated that it was supernova, which means we won't have no sun no more. Meaning that this whole earth will change because it won't have its heat source. Meaning that this will become a frozen planet, like some of the planets, you know, outer planets, like Pluto and Neptune and stuff. Now, I've been out of school for a long time, but that was projected based on the phases. And like now they talk about how the sun is letting all these blasts off. That's supposed to be part of the phases of a supernova. And so, and burning out. And I bring that up relative to you talking about they gonna get it. Well, you got to remember that these actual people, these elitists, are moving to conquer death. They're trying to move to conquer death. I covered that in the other videos I've done. They're moving to conquer death and to stay in this physical realm. You think about how pleasurable it is and all that it has. And then when you learn how to transcend physicality and walk among the spirit and then come back, oh my goodness, what an existence, you know. And so how can you take out something that has evolved to that level, that conscious level, and those abilities? All this stuff is real. And we've had these experiences, but we are not aware of the experiences that we're having. And I wish I had known. I would have took notes during the course of my life, which I did. I done had so many notes. It's been ridiculous. The various experiences. And so back to the earth changing due to either the sun going through its phases and burning out, or supernova and whatever it's going to do. It changes to the earth like if an asteroid hit or something, because we did have some major asteroid showers about 3 or 4 years ago. You know, that could take them out. Yeah. Yeah. But anything less than that, nah, it ain't gonna be that easy. It ain't gonna be that easy. And the only other thing is the uprising by the people, but the people can't uprise unless they are conscious of what's taking place, and that they cannot just uprise. That's another thing, how the Illuminati set up to make sure the churches kept people in a particular mind frame. You can study that. That's a field you can study. It's a psychology, or what do they call it, anthropology, whatever it is, has to do with people. Sociology or whatever. Sociology is directly related to your religious institutions and churches and philosophy. So, God dang, I was going to say something that was important and forgot. It was about, too bad you can't rewind. Sociology, churches, having that particular, over that particular field and mindset of study. I forgot what I was talking about. We talk, the food, supernova and taking them out. Still can't remember. That's okay. Still got 4 minutes here, so I'm still gonna do my 4 minutes. Okay, yeah, and Uranus and Taurus is about the food. Again, that's going from the old paradigm. Remember, I did a video about it. Old paradigm. I hate when I jump, but I just thought about something. When I did the video about the food stamps, I got a whole lot of views on that video. But one of the things I covered was talking about how even in the inner city, in the urban area, there were fruit trees and vines everywhere when I was growing up, and how we could just pick stuff off the trees and the vines and the everything. It was everywhere. It was all in the alley, you know, it was all clean and stuff. We used to sit outside in the back porch and put ice and make ice cream with all the fruits that was outside, the peach trees, the grapes, And so a person that watched my video made a comment, they like, dumb ass, dumb fat black motherfucker, you was stealing somebody's stuff. Like, but I bring that person up because it was her level of consciousness. I was like, really? Hey, I ain't hear about the dumb fat black motherfucker. You just showed me just how stupid you are, that you don't realize this stuff was here before us, before man. I was like, and that's all I told her. I said, did you know that the Creator put that here for all of us to use? That goes to show our level of intellect. Many of us, some of us, that people are not aware that vegetation and shrubbery and all those kind of things existed even before man. That divinity put them here in order to help sustain man for whatever reason we have to come here for. People don't know that. So if they don't know that, they don't understand that that is part of the natural resources that was seized. That's deep, and that's scary. And I go back again, that person was maybe a couple years older than me. And remember that my generation is responsible for dealing with the social issues that have existed for 3 generations. We are responsible for the awakening. We're responsible for the enlightenment. That's deep. And so I talk about Taurus because that food part is a part of the old paradigm. We've been through many paradigm shifts. And for many generations, a lot of issues weren't dealt with. It's why I brought that up. The last paradigm that existed, think about the food market and how it was set up and orchestrated and administered. Again, going back to the social welfare and things like that. The new paradigm is going to reform even that area. And that's where we about to be continue to be overwhelmed. The new paradigm is all about reform of every every single aspect in this life. It ain't just about the branches of knowledge, because the branches of knowledge are parallel to everything in this physical realm. Every single thing. So what am I saying? I'm saying that every single thing that exists is moving into a new paradigm. And therefore, that means reform. We can reform whatever you want. Whatever you want to talk about, we can go into it and see how it's going to reform, how it's going to affect humanity, and how it's going to affect and influence your life. Period. Lately, I've been watching a lot of videos here on YouTube that have to do with homelessness. What was it else? I told y'all about the various diseases one I was watching. So the homeless one was the last one I watched. And the homelessness all over the United States, just everywhere. And listen to people's stories. And so, you know, we have this connotation in our mind that person is homeless because they ain't willing to work, or they're on drugs, or they're mentally ill. And it's not always the case. Is it a frequency? Yes, but it's not always the case. It's not the majority of the cases. People are just not earning enough money to withstand the cost of living. Bottom line, not earning enough money to withstand the cost of living, and a lot of the jobs opportunities are being downsized. This is moving to the new paradigm. The jobs are being downsized or done away with. Why? Because of advancements in technology. We ain't up there to do the jobs, so we ain't gonna have the jobs, you know. So a lot of people are losing everything they have. Then we have a younger generation that's growing up, and many of them are not having an inheritance. These are all the realities associated with our transition from the old paradigm into the new paradigm. And a part of that new paradigm is the homeless. So the question is, what do you do with all the homeless people? Recently, I've been talking about they've been trying to set up a plan about a universal income. That is a plan. Doesn't say they're going to do it, but I'm sure they will have a universal income at some point in time. But again, the question is, what will it allot you? We're talking about Uranus and Taurus again, Jordan. What will it allot you? But then there will be many people that will be deceased, dead. Either they're dying out now because they're part of the older generation, or they're part of my generation that have done everything under the sand to manipulate themselves. And the whole thing was to break your physical vessel down, your machine down, because the machine just don't die. Did you know that you just don't die? That's an interesting concept, and that's a hard one to wrap your mind around. People don't die. They don't just die. It's never on a death certificate that you just die. No, you have to die of a cause, and the cause is brought on by the deterioration of this vessel. Interesting. Whatever the deterioration may be, or it may be brought on about by the chemicals in the food, the manipulation of the vessel itself for vain reasons, whatever the case may be abuse, drug abuse, misuse, left susceptible to poverty and all of the impacts it has upon you in the physical and spiritual. See, these are the things that are in this crossroad from the old paradigm into the new paradigm. Again, there's a certain generation of people that are responsible for the awakening. Why? Because we allowed these things to come into play. Again, and I said this last live stream, and I guess I'll say it again, that remember, Pandora's box was open millennials ago. You can't close Pandora's box down. Got a video about it. So since we know that we can't close Pandora's box, which is technological advancements, it comes to this. What are you going to do with those technological advancements? Well, people want to monopolize them. They learn them. These are geniuses. They learn that stuff that comes out of Pandora's box. They master it, and they learn how to execute it, and they become very wealthy, and they ultimately seize control of the power in this world, leaving the rest of humanity to be dependent upon them. If those select people don't want to be generous, because then they'll have to give the resources back to the rest of humanity, then they have to do what to the rest of humanity? And so, again, it is a particular generation that's responsible for getting all this information out one way or another. And it is, again, as you see, it's very difficult. It's a lot of layers. It's overlapped, all kind of things. And then we're so, another thing that is have taken place during my generation and onward, as far as younger, is that the Illuminati has set up, and this will be in the field of like media. That's another discipline, branch of knowledge and discipline, media, in which we talk about the standard of beauty being created and how that is affecting our perception of ourselves. Then we have the, what do you call it, all of these social sites, and is our presentation to the world, is our state of our self-awareness. And you always hear me talk about it, and it's popular here on YouTube, talk about narcissistic, selfish, egotistical state of being, and we are up under. Even if a person does not feel really good about themselves, there still is this unnatural, egotistical disposition that exists. And the reason why that's important is because it's making us not be able to work together. See, all of this stuff is coming to play. It's so much. I ain't going to keep talking our ears off. I just wish I could put it in order. But all of these things are the various components that's been implemented by the Illuminati that is affecting us and also affecting our move from the old paradigm into the new paradigm. I think the next live stream, I'm going to try to just talk about the new paradigm. Just that, the new paradigm and what it consists of. But that going to them, I don't know. I've been trying to get this done, but I can't do it. And so the new paradigm stuff ain't going to be no simpler because it covers too much information. There's too many various areas of life. And what I can really say is that a lot of changes are going to happen to us. Jordan, you brought up 2020. I think was it 2026? I don't have my binder. 2020, there are going to be some, I think at that point in time it said by 2020 we'll be able to kind of sense that there's something strange taking place, even if we can't like put our finger on it. This is if we stay on that particular path that we're on. You know, we won't be able to see. And then again, it's this increase of homelessness, illness, all these kind of things. We can't see. If you can't see, you can't do nothing about it. And then after that, I think it's 2026 is when things will begin to really spin a bit out of control, if I'm remembering right. And when I say spin out of control, I'm talking about increased homelessness, loss of jobs or awareness by the younger generation. We in for it. Either we wake up, either we understand what's going on, or we just keep riding our course. And I guess the last thing I'm going to let y'all go, I just been saying I ain't got nothing else to do, just running my mouth, is that going back into talking about the 5 most powerful countries in the world. The one that is most interesting to me is Great Britain and the Queen and them. Because when my daughters were in high school, they were studying the different revolutions that have taken place down, since in the 19th, since the 18th century. And every time I looked at something, you know, when they was doing their work, Great Britain was there, Great Britain was there, Great Britain was there, Great Britain was there. They were going all over this world wreaking havoc. What they call it, deboing other countries out their stuff. And so when I think about Great Britain and entering into this new paradigm with all the power they have, it leads me to believe like they are major players relative to this one world currency, which is the cryptocurrency. It leads me to believe that this is how the research goes. If somebody's interested in this, I'm just throwing it out here. And please, if you do, you're welcome to come on my channel and present it. This is an interest that I would like, a subject matter I would like covered. but I doubt if I go into it, I'm going to find one area to go into. But it's Great Britain and its impact in this world. When Great Britain first got its power, the various lands or countries that it imperialized and colonized, and during their imperialism, what did they gain as their treasures of war? What did they get? You know, like in Africa, they could have got anything: gold, ore, fish. You know, it depends on what lands. And Great Britain imperialized and colonized so many different lands. They was deep-blowing everybody's shit. So since they are such a powerful force right now, what is it? How do I say? What is it that they're going to be contributing to the new paradigm? It's something in particular that they're governing over, is what I'm saying. I actually think they the boss. I think like they the mafia boss. That's what I think it is. I don't think it's the United States. I don't think it's the United States, not at all. I think it's Great Britain. I really do. Yeah. Anyway, y'all listen to me ramble, talk. So I'm gonna get on off here. I've been on 3 hours and 11 minutes. Thank you for letting me ramble and talk. Hopefully you took something from this, as I talked about the contribution of Illuminati into our world, and what we need to come to understand and to see the purpose and the game that's being played, so that we can do what? Awaken and ascend, so that we can do what? Make a change. Change to what? Take us off our current course, projected course for the up and coming new paradigm. Bye, y'all. Thank you anyway. I'm fussing and cussing. I ain't got nothing else to do. At 150, and I still ain't going to be it. Oh. Guess computer got tired of me talking to